Good Monday morning. Thanks for joining us here on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Alicia Lewis. We begin with breaking news this morning. Governor Tim Walz is dropping out of the race for governor. He's going to speak about this morning at 11 about his decision to abandon the campaign. We, of course, will carry that live for you right here on KARE 11 Plus. Now, the stunning reversal comes as Minnesota is in the spotlight nationally over fraud cases. In his announcement this morning, Walz noted the fraud is out of control and that some, quote, political actors are trying to take advantage of the crisis. Walz says he wants to focus on the work needed in our state and let someone else focus on the politics. According to political analyst Blois Olson, the governor faced an uphill battle for a third term. The fraud is just one issue, but Olson also points out that no Minnesota governor has ever won a third term. He also suggests that some Democrats that could jump into the race.
Many Democratic elected officials in the recent days have said that the governor couldn't run, shouldn't run. There was a lot of pressure growing within the party for him not to run. They were very worried about it. But, you know, he was popular and he has come, he's popular within the Democratic Party. I think they started to worry about fraud, the fatigue of a third term. No governor in Minnesota has ever done that. He met with Senator Klobuchar on Sunday, and many have suggested that as the dean of the Democratic Party in Minnesota, Senator Klobuchar would be the first choice of Democrats to try to run for governor, but she would also have influence on whether or not Walz would run again.
Attorney General Keith Ellison is also in the conversation. Again, Walz will address Minnesota today at 11 this morning. We, of course, will carry that live right here on KARE 11 Plus. A look from D.C. this morning, where this week the massive fraud scandal sweeping Minnesota's social service programs is going to take center stage in Washington. Our investigative reporter, AJ Legault, will be there to cover the hearings. He's going to be live starting tomorrow and throughout the day on Wednesday. In New York this morning, Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro will face a judge today. He's being arraigned on 4 counts related to drug trafficking. Right now, the ousted leader is sitting in a Brooklyn jail after he and his wife were captured in a dramatic military operation early Saturday morning. Alice Barr is in Washington with the latest.
Hi there. President Trump has been ramping up the pressure on Venezuela for weeks, and now many Democratic lawmakers are accusing the administration of misleading them about their ultimate goal, with lawmakers in both parties pushing for answers about what comes next. This morning, as deposed Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro prepares for his first court appearance in New York, charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, President Trump again asserting the U.S. is in charge in Venezuela.
We're going to run it, fix it. We'll have elections at the right time. But the main thing you have to fix is a broken country.
Amid new details about the U.S. mission to capture Maduro and his wife and key advisor Celia Flores at their Venezuelan compound, including strikes from 150 American aircraft after a secret CIA team laid the groundwork for months. President Trump saying the country's interim president, a close Maduro ally, is now cooperating and must continue to.
If they don't behave, we will do a second strike.
The president saying American oil companies will go in to rebuild infrastructure and take over Venezuela's rich oil supply.
They're going to take the oil out of the ground, and we're taking back what they stole. Remember, they stole our property.
On a divided Capitol Hill, Democrats saying the administration should have asked for congressional authorization to strike.
Only Congress has the power to declare war.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio pushing back.
This was not an action that required congressional approval. In fact, it couldn't require congressional approval because this was not an invasion.
As Republicans defend the move.
Thank you, President Trump, for taking the action to protect American lives, to protect American interests.
And many Venezuelans who fled the country's authoritarian rule hope for a better future. Secretary Rubio argued the U.S. is at war with drug trafficking operations, not Venezuela, as President Trump suggested neighboring Colombia could be next. The top 8 congressional leaders are due for a classified briefing today, according to 4 sources, with lawmakers in both parties pressing for more information for all of Congress. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now, the Venezuela strike and capture of Maduro also leaves thousands of Americans stranded this morning. The FAA lifting restrictions just yesterday on flights around Caribbean airspace. Delta Airlines is adding more than 2,600 seats on extra flights today across its Caribbean network, but there could be some delays. Taylor Lamoury is a nurse from Ramsey, Minnesota. She and her family left for a trip on December 26th. They were supposed to leave Barbados on January 3rd, but woke up to find out that their flight was canceled. Delta's plan didn't have them returning to Minneapolis until the 11th, so they booked a private commercial flight and hope to be home late Wednesday night.
At the end of a trip, I'm just so ready to go home, and just be told like, hey, you actually are not going home and we don't know when you're going to be going home is super anxiety inducing.
Delta says it's working to reaccommodate all customers by tomorrow. There is a travel waiver for customers traveling to or from the 13 airports through January 6th. This morning, the adult children of Melissa and Mark Hortman are condemning a social media post from President Trump promoting an unfounded theory that Governor Walz was somehow involved in their parents' murder. Trump shared the video on Truth Social yesterday. The video ties Walz and fraud in Minnesota's state programs to the murders. Now, in statements, both Sophie and Colin Hortman called on Trump to take the video down and apologize, saying it's dangerous and dishonors their mother's memory. The Hoffmans, who were shot in the same attack, also released a statement saying that they stand with the Hortman children. At last check, the post is still up. Right now, parents in the Anoka-Hennepin School District are getting ready to send their kids back to school from winter break, but that could all change here in just a few days. Teachers are working in Minnesota's largest district, are going to be back at the bargaining table, with the district tomorrow, hoping to come to some sort of agreement. If they don't, they're going to be walking off the job this Thursday. Now, this is video from a rally last month in Anoka. The union is fighting for a raise to keep up with the costs of insurance rates. They've been working without a contract since June. In an update this week, the district says it's committed to improving salary and benefits for employees while working within the budget.
All of the district's proposals to date would ask teachers to take an effective pay cut. Over 3,000 educators across this district have said that that is not an acceptable outcome for this contract.
The district is still working on plans for students if teachers decide to walk off the job. Well, it's likely going to be another heated school board meeting in Robbinsdale tonight as they consider closing another school. The board already voted to close 3 schools due to a budget shortfall. Now they're discussing the closure of Fair School at Pilgrim Lane Elementary. The district's trying to fix a $20 million deficit. The public is invited to share their thoughts during tonight's meeting, which starts at 7 o'clock. In today's Communities That Care, we're highlighting One Good Deed's 9th annual scarf bombing. Take a look at this. Scarves, gloves, blankets, and warm clothes laying across 4 metro parks yesterday for anyone who needed them. Dozens of volunteers went to the parks, including Lorain and Kellogg Park, to put out donations that filled a record 760 bags. The event organizer says she's always grateful to see how people show up.
There's just a call to kindness that if you have more, share. And whatever you can do is helpful to someone else.
Organizers go back to the park to pick up anything that wasn't claimed and bring them to local shelters. One Good Deed does one act of kindness every month. Gotta love them. Well, the Vikings were victorious yesterday, but a different border battle went to Packers fans. Take a look at this. The second border battle tug of war took place over in Hudson, bringing fans on either side of the river together for friendly competition and a good cause. The event raised a total of $8,000 for first responders, with 60% going to police, fire, and EMS groups on the winning side, and then 40% to the other side.
Those are just our community members, our friends, our neighbors that help us out when there's problems. And we want to respect, of course we respect them, but we also want to encourage them and know that they have our support.
Pretty cool. Nearly 200 people showed up for the event. So last year's tug of war took place on the Stillwater Lift Bridge, but moved this year because of permit issues. Organizers say it's definitely going to be back next year, but when and where is all going to depend on the NFL schedule and permits. Well, hey, stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.